everyone, this is Kelly Cahoot and I am so excited to be here giving you a little sneak peek of the brand new Ocean Bliss stamp set. I love this set. I am in love with this beautiful mermaid sitting on the rock holding her beautiful little seashell, and I have inked her up in VersaFine black onyx ink because this ink is water safe. So I can use that ink with my Zig clean color real brush markers, or you can also use it with your regular watercolors. I am going to start out coloring her. I use lots of different colors. What I like to do is test the colors on a scrap sheet of paper, because a lot of times these colors and this pigment will look one color when you test it, and then when you add water to it, it kind of breaks those pigments down, and some of them, you know, have some colors that are pigment that you may not have expected. Like some of the browns have a lot of green in them and so on. So I do like to test it on a piece of paper to make sure that I'm going to get the result that I want. So I am going to turn on some music and just finish my coloring. After finishing up my coloring and making sure that all of that pigment and Zig clean color real brush markers, making sure all of that was good and dry, I used some border dies that I had in my stash, and I have cut just some scrap paper to make some different divisions and looks for the background on that paper. I've already, as you can see there, used walnut stain ink to do what's going to be like my sandy beachy area, and then I'm going in with Broken China is the lightest of the blue there. Faded Jeans is that really pretty blue in the middle, and then Ice Spruce. This is going to kind of be a sunset scene, and so I wanted the water to change as it gets farther away from land. So I'm using those three blues and I'm just blending those together until I get the look that I wanted. And then the top portion there where I have the straight line, that is going to be where my sunset is. So I'm going to flip that paper over that I'm using as a mask. I'm going to flip it around and cover up the blues that I have already blended on there and tape that down, and then I can start on my sunset. I'm going to use both Fossilized Amber, is the really rich yellow, and Spiced Marmalade. I'm going to start out by just taking my sponge and dabbing on a really bold circle there. That's going to be my sunshine dipping down into the water that I have there below that mask. And then I'm just going to very lightly blend that color out, and then I'm going to go in with the Spice Marmalade to bring in some beautiful oranges. And I'm just going to work that and blend those together until I get the blend and the look that I am going for. It only takes a couple of passes with those colors. Those Distress Oxide inks, which I used on the whole background, they're really easy to blend and I love the look. They're really creamy, they blend well. You do not have to spend a whole lot of time trying to get the perfect blend. And then you can add some water droplets to get that oxide reaction, or you can just leave it as is. And I decided to go ahead and flick some water on this. I just kind of spray some water into my hand and let it kind of drip onto my paper. And then it gives that great oxide reaction. I'm going to fill up all my masks here so you can see the whole background. And I was really pleased with the way that this turned out. So you can just use your background dies or your border dies that you have in your stash, or you could cut that by hand depending on what you want it to look like. And then here I'm just spraying from a water bottle into my hand and just kind of flicking that on, and then taking a paper towel and blotting that up. And I love the way that looks. And I used my MISTI mouse pad, as you can see there. I used that to line up the masks when I laid that down to make sure everything, like the horizon line, was nice and straight. So that's why I used that with the grid on the background. I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape and pop up my beautiful mermaid. I love her there. She looks so content and so happy just sitting there on her rock. And then I'm going to line everything up in my mini MISTI. I put the whole background piece, and then this sentiment says, "Wish you were here." Ink that up with some Memento black Onyx ink. And I love using my mini MISTI for sentiments because you can stamp it a couple of times to get the perfect stamping. I'm going to add that on to a navy blue background, and then I added a little bit of gold glittered cardstock behind that just to bring in that beautiful shade and to go with the beautiful sunset there. I did take a wink of Stella pen to make the sunset appear across the water, as you can see there, and brought in some rays for the sunshine. And this project is all done. I just am in love with this mermaid stamp set. It's called Ocean Bliss, and I hope you'll check out the rest of the new Honeybee Stamps release. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.